Dear believers, I was reading a book about slavery right here in the United States. Slavery right here in the United States was one of the most horrific experiences that you could ever imagine. Now, in this book, there was a slave woman, and she was reflecting about her experiences. Tortured, whipped, starved, you name it, the worst treatment a person can ever be treated. But she says, out of all of this pain and torture, no pain was greater than the fear of separation. You see, during that time of slavery, at any time, someone from your family can be sold to someone else. So it doesn't matter who that person is. It could be your husband, your wife, your child, anybody. If that person was sold to someone else, they would just take that person. And this slave was recounting this experience, and she says, when that person was sold, it was almost like they died because you never saw that person again. And you see, dear believers, this fear of separation is understandable when we're talking about our families, the ones who we love, who we sacrifice for. But unfortunately, we are so attached to the things of this life that we walk around with this same fear of separation from our jobs. We fear we are separated from our money, and it causes us anxiety. We fear that we are separated from material things. And this is something that we need to work on, dear believers. We must rid our hearts of the love of this dunya and fill it with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, one of the things that we go through is we suffer from abandonment issues. Yes, we as people, we have a lot of issues. And one of those issues is abandonment issues. Why? Because you see, in this life, you can even have a lot of love for someone, for even a family member, someone, and you and that person get into an argument or some situation, and that person will walk out of your life. That person will cease to talk to you. Or nowadays, as the young people will say, they will block you. And you can't connect with these people anymore. But lucky for us, we serve Allahu Samad, the eternal, the absolute. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going anywhere. Allah says in the Quran, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَىٰ. Allah says in this ayat, this beautiful ayat, your Lord has not abandoned you, nor does he despise you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not abandoned us. He has never abandoned us. He has been here since the start, since before inception. Any of us that have kids, you remember when before our children were born, we were so excited, we thought to ourselves, I wonder what does he look like? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he knew what he looked like all along because he formed us in the womb. Every single one of us, custom made. Can you imagine having a business and you had to custom make every single product, even if you made t-shirts? How long you would be in business? You wouldn't be in business that long. To think about the manpower it would take to make every single t-shirt individually. Not to mention the brain power to come up with an individual design for each t-shirt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does this with no pressure. He does it with nothing. It's nothing for him to do this. Not to mention he made us with the best parts. Our brains are priceless. You can't even come up with a price for them. You cannot duplicate them. They will cost too much money. Not to mention our eyes. We are made with the best products. And we always get happy. Doesn't man get happy when he gets something of value? We get so happy if we have a car that is made by Lamborghini. If we have a shirt that is made by Gucci, if we have a belt that is made by Louis, we are so happy. But we are designed by Al-Musawwir. He is the ultimate designer. So if anything, we should be boastful about this. We should run back to our Creator and develop this deep love for Him. This is what He deserves. And He has been there our whole lives. Our whole lives, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been there. Right when we thought that our paycheck put food on our table to eat. No, that was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we got into that accident, we almost lost our lives and we swerved. We thought that we did something. No, that was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also protecting us, feeding us. We think we're the ones who bought that house. No, that was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also providing for us this whole time. Not to mention, not 1 second before, when it's time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take our souls and we will die. And then one day we will be resurrected based upon when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees fit. And that's one of the things that we need to think about on a regular basis. Maliki Yawmiddin, the master of the day of judgment. We need to think about, what is our resurrection going to look like? What is it going to look like when we are resurrected? We need to think about these things, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَكَيْفَ تَتَّقُونَ إِن كَفَرْتُمْ يَوْمًا يَجْعَلُ الْوِلْدَانَ شِيبًا. Allah says in this beautiful ayat, how then, if you refuse to acknowledge the truth, will you protect yourselves on the day which shall turn the hair of the children gray? Subhanallah. A day that will turn the hair of the children gray. The ones who have no sins, who have nothing to worry about, let alone us who are racking up sins every single day. The only way to protect ourselves from this, dear believers, is to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Empty our hearts from the love of the dunya and fill our hearts with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like when we go out of town, we get a hotel room and it's so beautiful, mashallah. It has a refrigerator, it has a stove where you can cook. It looks so beautiful. But do we once think for a second, man, I could live here for the rest of my life? This will be a good house for me. No, because we know this is just a transition. And you see, dear believers, this life is nothing but a fancy hotel room. And why do we get hotel rooms? Have you ever called your friend and told them, I'm staying in the hotel? What do they say? What are you in that hotel for? What are you doing in that hotel? Who are you visiting? What are you doing? Because they know in order to be in a hotel room, you have to have a purpose. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He reminds us of this. And He says in the Quran, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ MashaAllah. In this very simple ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us, where are you going? Allah is asking us, dear believers, where are you going? Where are we going? Because if we're on this dunya and we're spending our time in anything else other than getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guess what? We are wasting our time. So we must ask ourselves deep down within ourselves, we must ask ourselves, what are our desires? What do we desire? Do we desire to be rich like Bill Gates? Do we desire to have a bunch of houses and a bunch of cars? Is that what we desire deep down? Do we deep down desire to be rich and famous, to have influence over other people, to be widely popular? Is this what we desire? Because, dear believers, if this is our desires, guess what? We are in the wrong place. Because even if we attain the most riches, and there's nothing wrong with being rich. We know Abu Bakr Siddiq, radiallahu anhu, he was rich. But to have that money inside of our hearts, it's only a certain amount of money that we can spend during our lifetime. And then after that, who does the money go to? There was a singer, her name was Whitney Houston. She amassed a great fortune, but unfortunately she died. But she had a daughter, so she left all of her money to her. But unfortunately, her daughter had a drug habit and she died. So the money then was left to her boyfriend, then he died, and where's the money at now? All of this money that was sacrificed for, all of this money that was, who knows how it was earned. Not to mention the fame. How long can this last? After TV, after on television, we may see someone who's famous.